Hello, my little cream puffs. So today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 tips that have really helped me with my makeup, and they might help some of you guys too. And they're pretty easy and pretty simple. So let's just get into this because I know you want to hear my mounds of infinite wisdom. Okay, starting us off at number 1. This is a tip that really helps me because I know that you guys might think that I'm just this beauty guru, guru like God, and I do everything perfect, but I really struggle with liquid liner. I know, some of you are like, yes girl, me too. I really struggle with it. One side always looks better than the other side. If you guys notice in a lot of my videos, I don't even wear it. Just because I do have hooded eyes, sometimes I just feel like it takes away from the look of the eyeshadow to put like a really like thick eyeliner on. So sometimes I kind of avoid it, but every now and again sometimes I kind of like the bold wing, bold eye look and nothing else. I like to use a stamp. I like to use a fat angled brush to stamp on my eyeshadow. So what I'll do is I'll pick up some black eyeshadow and I'll very lightly just press it to my eye, and I will kind of like pull it over. That way I can like see how my eyeshadow is gonna look, like where the wing is gonna be and kind of like where the top part's gonna be before I put it on with liquid liner, before it's on top of eyeshadow, before I have to run 5 minutes out the door to an interview or something. So that just takes doing a lot of the work off your hands. So today I kind of just like stamped it on, I kind of like drew it across a little, and then I looked at them and I was like, okay, they look okay. And then I went over with the liquid liner and just traced it. That's like the simplest, easiest, bestest hack ever invented, because I struggle real hard with just freehanding it. Anyone that can freehand it, you are a freaking saint, because I can't. So that's a little tip that might help you. This brush that I use is the Morphe E11. It's kind of big compared to some other angled brushes I have, and I can't really use it for eyebrows. So this is like the perfect thing. Okay, so show of virtual hands, how many of us struggle with erosion of foundation on the nose? Oh, don't look at my bingo arm. But I struggle so much with foundation eroding from my nose. And I think that's why I love the Maybelline Fit Me so much, because it doesn't really. So there's a little hack right there. But a lot of times I have to be so careful about what I put on my nose and how much powder and how much setting spray, and do I go over it with more stuff and da-da-da-da. And it's such a friggin' hassle. So one thing that I learned from a makeup artist is using eyeshadow primer on your nose. Okay, so backtrack a little. This is kind of like a 2-for-1. But when you're going to do your foundation, a lot of times people put on a moisturizer or like a hydrating primer to kind of like prep the skin, right? Okay, you want to avoid moisture anywhere that you have foundation erosion. So if it always goes away on your chin or your upper lip or your nose or your forehead, that's some place that you want to avoid with moisturizer. So now when I put my moisturizer on, because I literally put moisturizer on every single day right before my makeup, I will avoid the nose area if I'm going to do a full face of foundation. I mean, if I'm just going to, put a little bit of brows on and a lip gloss, that's different. But what you want to do is avoid it with moisturizer first, and second, go over it with eyeshadow primer. This is the Urban Decay Potion Primer. This is like a really great primer that I think works the best for this hack. Maybe you could use another one or one that you have, but I suggest this, and I literally just paint it onto my nose and I press it in. I don't try to buff, I press. And it'll start to feel wet, and then it will start to feel really tacky, and then it will literally become like crystallized over. Like if you took a spoon to it, it would crack and there would be ice cream underneath. And yes, I would eat my nose if it was made of ice cream. Anybody else? No? I'm just weird? Okay. And then I go and I lightly powder that. You don't have to powder it at all, but I do just as an extra precaution. And then just go right over top with your foundation. Again, try not to like buff the foundation in circular motions. Try to stamp it in. Maybe if you're someone that always uses a brush, try using a sponge in that area, or whatever, but this is a pretty good hack, I must say. It looks really good after I'm done, and usually sometimes I have foundations that like literally the moment I start buffing like powder or bronzer on top, it's like dissipating and now I have a hole in my nose and I'm like, oh my god, the world hates me. But this is a great way to solve that issue. So primer on the nose, on the forehead, wherever you have it eroding. There we go. Now this one is a trick used by a lot of makeup artists, and I learned this from Lipstick Nick, so give credit where credit is due. And she taught us in the class about veiling your makeup, or veiling your bronzer and blush. So this actually works good for two reasons, and I'm going to explain what it is. Veiling your bronzer or blush is basically where you take translucent powder on a big fluffy brush and you just go right over top of whatever bronzer or blush that you have. Now this is good because I'm pretty sure that most people want a beautiful airbrushed look. They want a look that looks theirs. They doesn't want to look like, oh hey, you just went in with a big brush on your face full of bronzer. You want it to look like a natural contour. You want it to look like a natural warmth to the face. So veiling your bronzer, going over top of it with a little bit of translucent powder is going to give it a very like skin-like finish. Like this is a little bit more natural, it's more part of the skin, and you don't even have to be going for a natural look. I personally like my skin to look like today I'm wearing a tinted moisturizer, but if I'm going in for like that full face of foundation, I want my skin to look just like a beautiful soft canvas. You know, it doesn't matter if I'm wearing bright blue eyeshadow, I want the skin to look like a nice soft canvas. So that's what veiling your bronzer means. It's going to make it look really, really natural, but it's also a great tip if you, for some reason, you go overboard with the blush or you're like in the dark during your makeup and then you get out into the light and you're like, oh, I'm a little snooky now. You can go in with some translucent powder and just buff right over top of your bronzer or over your blush, and it will buff out any mistakes. It'll soften it up. And sometimes I do think that it's okay if you go a little overboard with the blush with the blush or bronzer, just because that's kind of like the first thing to go on the face. So if you over blush a little bit, it's not that big of a deal because in an hour or two it'll kind of have worn down by itself. But if you just really like made a mistake, like you were just use this technique. Veil it, and you will look better than ever. Okay, I get so many people that ask me, Margie is fab, can you do my lashes? Margie is fab, how do you put on lashes? Teach me how to put on lashes. How do you put on lashes? How do your lashes look so good? And I appreciate that so much that you guys think that highly of me to ask, for one, but this is the key to putting on lashes. I finally, I made a video about it a while back, so if you need like a super in-depth, like hold your hand step by step, I will link that down below. You're welcome. Shameless plug, sorry. This is glue. Hi, it's your best friend, and it's the key to making your makeup look fantabulous. I know I harp about the House of Lashes lash glue all the time. You're like, girl, shut up, we know. But I love this eyelash glue because of the fact that not only is it cement for the eyelashes, but it is also color changing. Like, see how it's white, but it kind of has, I don't know if you guys can see, it kind of has like a almost opal sheen to it, where it's kind of like blue and green and pink. This is because when it goes on, it's going to go on like a white with like a pink shift to it, but as the glue dries, it's going to shift to a blue and then to a clear. The key to lashes is waiting a stupid amount of time to put the lashes on. Waiting a stupid amount of time to watch the glue dry. Like if you're like, wonder if it's been enough time yet. It's not been enough time. It needs to be at least a minute before you put these bad boys on. And the reason that I mention this is because you can start to see when your eyelash glue is turning that blue and parts of it's turning clear, you can go, okay, now is the perfect time to put these suckers on my face. And it just makes it so easy when you get it to that point. So wait at least a minute if you know you'd like to go a little bit more of a cheaper route. The Duo Lash Glue also kind of does the same thing. I use the green one because that one is good for people with sensitive eyes and it has some vitamins in it. So that's a nice one too that has like a brush applicator. This one's also like $9 from Sephora or whatever, wherever you find this, their website. And just wait so long. Tilt your mirror up so that you're like looking down at yourself, and then just boop, stick it on the middle, hold each side down, and it should honestly be stuck to your face for within 10 seconds of you putting it on. Like, you know how sometimes we play that little game where we put the eyelash on and then we're trying to hold it down, but this side's popping up, so we hold that side down, and then the other side's popping up, so then we hold that side down because we're holding that side down, that side pops up, and you're like, kill me. This will save you so much time. Wait till it's so tacky, and then you put it on, you just hold down the sides, it should set into place. I usually go and do some sort of other makeup application while I'm just waiting, because I literally don't even really fix mine that much. Like, I literally wait so long, I just put it on, I hold them down a little bit, I look, I make sure they're in the right place, I, you know, press them, hold them, and then done. They should be on. There shouldn't be this whole big, like, oh, they're still wet and they're sliding around and da-da-da. And then I do wait a little bit after, so that way I'm not putting mascara on and I send one to the other side of the room. So that helps me wait a super long amount of time. That's the key to putting on lashes, you guys. And practice. I mean, I got this good at putting lashes on because I practice. I know that sounds sometimes a little bit ridiculous, like to sit home and practice putting on makeup, but it works. And if you're not completely bored already, my last tip for you, my 5th and final tip, is if you are someone who has more mature skin, use a foundation shade that is one shade darker than what you would normally get. Now, I know you're like, oh my god, I'm not going to have an orange face and a pale body. But listen, for women who are more mature, 50s, 60s, getting into there, you want to use a foundation shade that is a shade darker because naturally, lovely, getting old, so great, isn't it? Your skin naturally gets very sallow and can look a little washed out. So using a foundation shade that's even a half shade or a shade darker is not going to hurt you. It's not going to look bad. I promise. And you know what? You're probably going to add so much powder and bronzer and blush and highlight and eyeshadow, everything else. It's not really going to be noticeable, and it's going to bring a lot of just natural color to the face. So that's my tip to women over the age of like 45, 50, somewhere in there, is to use a foundation shade that is one shade darker. It's really going to help liven up your skin. It's not going to make you look so washed out. You're not going to look so sick. That's one of the things that I told my mom, because she was freaking out because she got a tinted moisturizer, and she was like, oh my god, I've never been like a medium in my life. Like, that might as well be black. Like, you know, she was like, I've never been something medium. I'm always like light or fair. It works, people. Just a shade darker, not 2, just 1. It will do the trick. Okay, party people, we are out this bit. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, please subscribe and like if you guys liked these kinds of videos, if you liked me carrying my infinite wisdom to the world, because you guys know I love listening to the sound of my own voice and talking about makeup, then let me know and I will continue to make more of these little videos. As always, you guys know your support is never unnoticed, and I would never be able to thank you enough, ever, for supporting me. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!